Hey friends, welcome to Exit Stage Left. I'm your host, Niti, and we are broadcasting live from the Food Church here on North Carolina. We are a people at peace and we have declared peace to all nations around the world. This isn't a marketing or a promotional channel. We are shining a light on knowledge that is being hidden from you, and we're sharing the truth about your birthright and your inheritance. If you've got any questions, please put them in all caps and only enter them once per show. Today, I'm joined by Debra-Ann, facilitator of the Ombudsman Way, and Tammy Healy, the host of the American States Assembly podcast and co-leader of the Outreach Think Tank. Welcome, ladies. Today's topic is being led by Tammy Healy. So, Tammy, I will yield the floor and let you take it away.
Hello, everyone. And Niti, thank you for having us back on the show. It's always a pleasure to come on and be amongst you beautiful ladies with beautiful souls. And so it's a pleasure to be here. The topic of discussion for today is I kind of wanted to talk about how do we get our assembly men and women out of this top-down infrastructure mindset. We constantly talk about self-governing and we're all equal, we're all the leaders here. But what does that actually look like and what does that actually feel like? I think that that's the missing link for some of our assembly members. And so, I just like to open that discussion up with you ladies. I know everybody's got their own perspective on what that looks like. But for me, it's it's very easy, especially, we've been talking about this for a long time now, how the coordinators have been, kind of misrepresented as the, CEOs, or if it's the committee chairman, they're the quote leaders of that particular committee. And that's just not the case. We all come to the table. Those people are basically, their roles are to be the organizers and the moderators, and the coordinators are the go-to getting information from the federation to bring it back to our assemblies and help coordinate efforts and help with finding people's places in the assembly. Like if you can view somebody's talents and skill sets, then you can perhaps properly place them and invite them to take positions within the assemblies that match their talents and skill sets. But what does it look like when you come to the assembly? I know that I've heard on multiple occasions people talking about just warm bodies coming to a meeting. And and so what does that mean to just be a warm body? And to me, it's just people showing up to a meeting and listening and not really participating, and yet feeling responsible and accountable for being, the one that has to voice an opinion or make a decision or volunteer to take on some of the work that's required to assemble. And so I was just wondering, what does that look like for all of you ladies? And what experiences have you had in your assemblies?
Well, great question, Tammy. Because we have reorganized so many times on Michigan, it reminds me of school because, the teacher's not the CEO, but you're there and they have their perceived authority. And, the coordinators have that to move past, because no matter how many times a coordinator says, I'm just one voice, we're making the decision together, you guys got, step forward, give your ideas, contribute. No matter how many times that is said, when the coordinator is not at the meeting, nobody wants to move forward until the coordinator can give the okay. Now, we need to move past that. Those people that do, who are excited about building and confident in what they have to offer, and actually all of us are going to make mistakes. And I think that's the other thing we all need to grab a hold of is, yes, let's do it. The excitement's there. Let's move forward, but be prepared to be course corrected if need be. And then we have to deal with that little person inside that, is shamed because they've been corrected. And anyway, that's where we have to do our own work. But that's how we're going to move forward. We have to be willing to make mistakes, be course corrected, and move forward, knowing that each one of us brings 100% of ourselves to this effort. It's a great time. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that Niti and I were having a conversation about this. And, Niti, I don't know if I'm getting ahead here and this is what you were going to say, but you said it so beautifully. Last week I was discussing how, as a dancer, you're working collaboratively and everybody has to be on point and, working harmoniously. But I liked your analogy a little bit better because you were talking about an instrument. And if your instrument is out of tune, you're not in harmony with the band, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is just such a beautiful analogy of really how our assembly has to be working, and like what you said, Deborah, is if you are the one that's out of tune and you're not yet in tune, you have to be able to accept that constructive criticism, and don't take it as an offense and as an insult, but, take it as somebody's lovingly trying to help you raise your level, right? And bring you up higher. Mm-hmm. And so what do you think about that, Niti?
What I wanted to say about that is that it isn't constructive criticism. Listen, guys, what we're doing is based on law. And it's just the law. Okay. And you either know the law or you don't know the law. And we never knew the law. Like, let's just be honest first. This is the other part of it. Nobody knows how to be honest. So we are professional liars who are trying to tell the truth, some of us for the first time. And what I mean by that, everybody gets upset when I say this, but I'm just going to keep offending you because the truth can be very belligerent if you can't comprehend the truth. Okay. The truth is only belligerent for those who are not ready for it or ready to comprehend it. Just like when you are walking in the woods and you come up upon a cliff, it can scare the bejesus out of you. Okay. Like you might get to that cliff and go, oh, you almost fell and died. Right. This can happen in like heavy woods when you're walking on trails. So I don't know, everybody doesn't necessarily have the experience of walking through that type of woods or walking through a jungle somewhere and almost falling into quicksand or at the edge of a cliff. Okay. But that is the way the truth is. It can be like that where it sneaks up on you. Okay. And especially in a society that was designed they actually call it the American experiment. Okay. It's not, this is not theoretical. This is factual. Okay. And so what we're trying to do on the assemblies is teach everyone the law. What is the reconstruction? You have to become a law student. Anna told me the first time I talked to her, she said, I'm going to have to work with you because you're going to need to become a student of the law if you want to know how to do this. And she's not kidding. You are going to have to be a law student. And if you don't want to be, then just do your paperwork, go be a free man. You have absolutely no obligation to serve. You have none, and we will love you anyway. We really will. And we will protect all precious life, no matter what. However, if you want to participate on the assembly, then you need to follow the lawful structure, which we didn't just make up, okay? And even Anna didn't make it up. She had to learn the ancient laws, and she has mastered the ancient laws. Now, these ancient laws stand over all man's laws. Let me say it one more time. Ancient laws, the ones that we're following with Anna, are natural, hermetically sealed laws, universal laws, spiritual laws, okay? And they stand over all man's laws, which includes and is not limited to the UCC code. Universal Commercial Code is for the commercial world, which is man-made. So it stands under us. And let me just say it one more time. There is no creation that stands over the creator. Just like all of, and also there is no creation that stands over the other creations that are equal to them. Okay. We're all man. Yes, women, you're from man, womb of man. Okay. So all of mankind is an equal creation in the sense of we're not equal, like we're not the same. All right. In fact, nature does not repeat itself. So go ahead and just get that through your head. And the only time that you can call us equal really is when we're dead. Because as long as we're alive, otherwise, when we're dead, we're just a bunch of dead bodies. That's equal. Okay.
You're talking about equal standing.
I'm talking about we are all the same creation, mankind. And so not one of us can stand over another one.
Right.
Not one. You know, these dummies are trying to lean me. I'm laughing. There was literally an entire class led by people who are leadership, okay, American state nationals or citizens who are in leadership positions who tried to lean me. I mean, they literally taught a whole class on how to lean Niti, and I encourage you guys to do it.
I thought you could only lean a corporation.
Girl, I double dog dare them to lean me because I'm unalienable. So knock yourself out, brother. Knock yourself out. The fact that you don't know that is reasons why you should go sit down. That's why Grana, she's not worried about you. You think you can lean me. You're so cute, honey. Go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead and do it. It's fun. I'm having a good time. Listen. Grana is definitely having a good time because she loves, she birthed all of us, born us all into the truth just 5 years ago. It's only been 5 years. Okay. Right. So we love you. We love you. You just need to learn the law. And so when we're talking, I love how Global puts it, Tammy. We have to harmonize. And that was where I was getting at. Look, I used to play clarinet and flute and piano, and I'm a singer. So, you're in the choir, you're in the band, you're in the orchestra, whatever. If you're flat, then the conductor is going to be like, stop, start again. No, you're flat. You're flat. Do it again. You're going to keep going and keep going and keep going until you, and I am not going to get mad when they're like, Niti, you're still flat. Like, go wet your reed or go, get a new reed. Maybe it's got a split in it. Maybe try again. You have to like tighten it up and get it right. I mean, I'm sure that your feet hurt and were bleeding, Tammy, if you were trying to learn the right steps and do it the right way. I mean, I was scared of all the ballerinas that do toe because y'all's bleeding toes used to scare me. Like,
yeah, I've got bunions for a reason.
I mean, yeah. So like, if we want to actually learn how to do this, there are going to be times where, we're going to be flat. And we might not hear it right away or whatever, only the conductor can hear everything and says, and that is your coordinator. Your coordinator is just conducting the orchestra. Yes.
But we don't have a conductor.
We do have leadership. No,
but
we
each
have
one
people.
of us,
No, listen.
each one of
We
us
have to be organized. We can't get, or I want to stop this conversation about this.
Wait. I'm not saying we don't have a leader.
Yeah, we do, because somebody knows more than somebody else. Yeah.
We have a structure. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But
yeah.
If you're sitting next to your partner in the orchestra and your partner's flat, you go, better tune that violin. It's not just the conductor's job. That's
True.
my point.
Yes.
We're each in this together. We cannot rely on the coordinator to catch everything. They're not at every meeting.
Right.
Absolutely.
Each one of us has to stand in our own power to make it work. So I like the analogy, but it misses that nuance, which is so important for the assemblies to work together.
Hey, every time we assemble in all the different meetings, whoever is there can hear someone if they're flat, right?
Yeah.
And we all have to, this is the bigger point too, right? We have to all be able to hear each other, even me and you, right? The three of us, there's 5 of us sometimes, but like we all have to hear each other, and we all, sometimes we go in circles, don't we? Saying the same thing. Oh, that's what you mean. Okay. It takes a minute, right? It takes time for someone to get it, because we aren't always, look, all of us are in different physical locations too. And we're also dealing with different personalities in all those different locations. And like, there's a common theme where the state's trying to control the counties, for example, right? And that seems to be a more popular theme. We have a situation where the counties think they're going to try to control the state. And that's a new thing. Maybe everybody will grow into that sometime, because everybody was captured.
Hope not.
Girl, well, you know what it is that all of us are courageous, formidable people that are doing this work.
Yeah.
And we're tough. We have to be tough to do this, right?
And I think the goal shouldn't be to try to control one entity or the other. That's the mindset I think that we have to change.
Yes.
The only thing that we have control over is ourselves. And that's called self-mastery, is showing up as your best self, correcting yourself when you've realized you've, harmed somebody or, whatever, and keep moving forward. But, this mindset that somebody else is in control, I think it goes back. I mean, I keep saying this, but it goes back to our indoctrination. And so we have to constantly keep each other in check when we start to get back into that. There's one leader, and I'm going to use this as an example. So for instance, if I'm leading up a committee, okay, let's just say I'm the outreach committee chair, and I'm doing, we're conducting our meeting, and we have these initiatives, and everybody signed off on different things that they're going to do, right? So one of the things that I asked this committee to do is, hey, when you're done finding out, because we're moving forward with our county tours, and different people are working on different things. And so I said, I created a group email just for this committee. So when you find out the information, email everybody, respond to all. I still get people that call me individually or that send me a private text message and update me. And I have to constantly say, no, send it to the entire committee. I'm not the leader. I'm not the one in charge. I'm not the one making these decisions. It's everybody's job. And so getting that mindset to shift has been very difficult, but it's a constant battle, like just trying to retrain, reprogram, whatever you want to call it, this is the process in which we're trying to work through.
I mean, when we first just logged on, then I told Deborah, I go, everybody needs to be like Deborah. Because I still think her story was the best, where she said, I don't know, all I was doing my whole life was trying to make myself better. And I'm still not better, but I was only just focused on healing myself, and I'm just been focused on healing myself. And honestly, that's all I was doing too, right? That's all I was doing, by the way. I didn't do it as good as she did, apparently, because I think she's just been doing it a little bit longer than me. That's all. Maybe.
Oh, and there's no competition there.
No. Hey, we don't operate in any competition. All of us were professional liars at some moment, because, I told Louise, I was talking to her, and I said, it took me until I was 50 to know that I can't make my mom happy. Like, she needs to make herself happy. You spend your whole life trying to make somebody happy.
Yep.
I can't make you happy. Like, you just need to be happy.
Yeah. Happiness comes from within, for sure.
Right. And, but that is what when you're young, and your parents, your mom and your dad make you feel like, you're just not good. It was kind of something that was being done to a lot of us. I mean, I will tell you that my husband and I make a really big effort never to do that to our babies, because we recognize the harm that caused us. Right. And so we're not mad, at our parents.
That, by the way, is called unconditional love.
Right. But there was a teaching from the corporatocracy that was interfering with living men just loving unconditionally, right? They want to interfere with everything about the natural. Like, we know that there's no discrimination amongst us if we don't create it and teach it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's a learned behavior. Yeah.
It's why this is so hard, I think, on a lot of ways, because most people will walk away and they feel like it's so controversial because they're having to point things out to people who are thinking differently, and they feel like it is diminishing them somehow. So we wanted to bring forward this musical idea, because if we can just harmonize, but we are frequency. So if we harmonize our frequencies, the only way that I know of to really explain it is through the music. Like, you did it through the dance. I talked about it through the song or the instrument, and Debra-Ann's had her own different way, which, by the way, Debra-Ann, I finished the book. And I get why. What was fascinating to me about that book is it was really what actually broke my heart, actually, about the book, is that there are people who think it's a tough conversation to just be honest about the fact that they don't want to meet somebody for lunch. And they think that that's a hard conversation, and it weighs on them so heavily, because this is what the corporatocracy has done to us. And this is what they did to our babies. And I'm so mad about that. It used to be mad. Everybody should be mad about it.
They're still doing it. I mean, with all the programming you don't get away from it. It's in the advertising. It's everywhere.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They make them feel like trash for just not wanting to do something, or to say, I'm not interested today, or no, thank you, I can't join you today. And it becomes like, out of that book, I mean, there are other hard conversations that he talks about in there, but the fact that was such a big piece of it, that's the part that I'm talking about, you guys, that people lie, and they're forced to lie in an effort to love. And that's not love.
Right. Or to avoid discomfort, hard conversations. And just for the listeners, that book is The Next Conversation.
Oh yeah, we need to I'll put the link in.
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but it is a great book. I'm halfway through it, and I'm really enjoying it. And I think getting back to, our assemblies and being able to harmonize, the other thing that we have to think about too is that, this world has taught us that, everybody around us is, because we've been lying and stealing and cheating and manipulating to survive, we're constantly on guard, right? We're constantly have our walls up. We're constantly, trying to, we're just suspicious of others, right? Of their intentions, what their agendas may be. And the best way to get through that and overcome that, I believe, is through those conversations, asking the right questions, and and getting down to the heart of the matter. That's actually one of the really beautiful things that I love about Louise is a lot of people are getting annoyed with some of her questions, but I believe her questions is because she's trying to bring clarity to something that she doesn't comprehend. And maybe she didn't, read something that was readily available to her, or she missed something, but nonetheless, she still asks the question. And I say this all the time to the people in my assembly when we're going over our journal assembly stuff is, no question is a stupid question. Like even if it's a redundant question or an obvious answer, I love it when people are brave enough to just ask the question instead of staying quiet and comfortable because they don't want to be the one to raise their hand and put themselves out there. I think that we have to put ourselves out there and run the risk of looking silly. Nobody's going to shame or blame you. It's just if we're all at a different level of knowledge. And if that's where you're at, just ask the question. Hopefully there's like 5 people on the call that can answer it,
This is how you discern. What Juan's saying is solid. He's saying when people get annoyed with questions, that is an indication of ego protecting them from something or manipulative people.
Yeah.
Anyone who is having a problem with having open dialogue on any of your assembly calls, anyone who does that is a manipulator, and they're not there to help us grow our assemblies or complete the mission. They're not. You need to know that. You need to identify it, and you need to know it, and everyone needs to see it. And then everyone can know, okay, we're not listening to that guy, what they're saying, and just ignore them and move on. Because this is the other thing that I've noticed is these people, they want to try to have all their conversations in private. Or they'll take you from the main assembly and say, well, we'll talk about it on committee. And then they'll come and there's only 5 people allowed to be there or something like that. We don't do that. We don't do that. On North Carolina, I will say that we won't let people who are not on the assembly, like who have not volunteered to participate and serve on their assembly. We don't have open meetings because of all the trouble that we've been through. But all our replays are open for anybody. Anybody on the whole earth can see the Rumble channel and watch any of the meetings. So there's no secret about it. Okay. But if you want to have a conversation in the meeting, you have to show up to the meeting. And if you don't show up to the meeting, then we aren't talking to you. And that's for good reason. Because why should we talk to you in a private email or a private text or a whatever? Everybody's a volunteer. I mean, Tammy has nothing but time. So she gets to talk to them on her private texts and her emails because Tammy is just there for you and nobody. There's just nothing going on in her life. It's just her. She's just sitting around waiting for all the New Jersey people, millions of them, to just come to her directly only.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Niti, because recently one of our coordinators got an email from an assembly member's mom who lives on another state saying that her son got in trouble, is in jail, and needs help, right? And we've never seen him in our assembly meetings. We can see him on the LRO, so we know that he's a status corrected American, but I don't know who he is. I don't know what kind of trouble he got into. I don't know his history. And so
may I say something to that point before you get a little bit further?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is so important.
Yeah.
What you just said, they're on the LRO, but you don't know them. Guess what? If we don't have your hard records, you're a free man. And you're free to be free. And you're free to go and do anything that you want to do. But our work as an assembly isn't to presume upon anyone who hasn't voluntarily joined the assembly.
Right.
And our state can be an example for the rest of the nation because all our hard records were destroyed. Maybe you're not, I don't know. That's what we were told. So that means when your hard records are destroyed, you don't have an assembly. Nobody cares if you're on the LRO. You must have hard records that you voluntarily provide copies of to your assembly yourself because you chose to be there, because the assembly cannot presume upon you. No, the government cannot presume upon you because this is America, damn it. You are not required to do anything, okay? You cannot be presumed upon. This is the corporate mindset that you have been programmed by the de facto that they're going to come looking for you. We're not. We're not looking for you.
Well, one of the reasons why I brought this up is because this seems like an ongoing tactic across state borders. You know, I've spoken with other people in other states as a way to take attention away from the assembling process, right? Because we are reconstructing our government, and this is no easy feat. I mean, it's a huge job that we're undertaking, and it requires a lot of hands on deck and people with knowledge and comprehension to get the job done. And if we are getting emails from people who are ASNs that we've never met, never attends any of our meetings, but now all of a sudden thinks that somehow our government needs to protect them and help them get out of jail, it's kind of comical because they don't comprehend exactly what it is we're here doing and the amount of time, effort, and energy it takes, or they do comprehend it. And this is just a tactic to distract us from the work that we have to do.
Guess what? They do it to Anna.
It's interesting.
I'll yield to you. I just want to say this, that they tried to accuse Anna of allowing people to get picked up and put in jail by doing whatever she said, which is lies. That's number one. Number two, that's how the Colorado 9 ended up in the slammer, because they didn't listen to anything that she said. They were 100% undeclared and they just did whatever they wanted to. And what did Anna say? I'm focused on systemic relief. I can't help all of you. And so are the assemblies. And I yield to you, Deborah.
Well, one of the things that Tammy just brought up, which is it's very simple to understand. The store is being put together. The services aren't offered yet because the store isn't ready to open. The store is a business and it's working and it has standing as far as our General Assembly goes, is the things that we can do. But the services we offer are not ready to be given to the public yet, our ASN public.
Right.
And until it is ready, and if they want to help us get ready, come on in, because we need help getting the store ready to open.
And to that effect, we wouldn't be having problems in jail because we only have 2 rules. We wouldn't be in their jails. We only have 2 rules. We operate in honor, and we aren't going to have those problems because we only have 2 rules. Okay? So this is a trick. And the services that we offer. Let's talk. What are the services that we offer? We're not offering services like that. Our only services are to protect the people and the
Drill
assets.
assembly. Drill assembly and militia assembly. Those are our services.
The people and the assets.
Mhm.
Yep.
Everything else that you want to call a service. I mean, it is not Deborah's job to make you be friends with your neighbor. Okay, that's not her job. That's not the job. And unless there is harm done, you're not talking to Deborah. See, this is what the problem is, Deborah. They think that their feelings get hurt and then they're going to call the ombudsman, okay? Because so-and-so is mean to them. But that's not how it works. Deborah only gets involved if somebody broke into your house, stole some of your gold, and you need to iron some of the things out, and y'all can't agree that you operated in dishonor. Because living men, we take responsibility for things.
Well, here's where it gets really complicated, because that would be for the oversight committee, because we're talking about people in the assembly, right? What you just described would be for the oversight committee.
If it was within the assembly.
Right. And so the doors aren't open for business, so it can't be anything other than the assembly at this moment in time.
Boom.
Right. Yeah.
There's that. And
Yep.
you can't be part of the assembly if you are not papered up on the assembly and you volunteered to join, which does not mean anything about recording and publishing. So you record and you publish, okay? And then you choose that you want to serve on the assembly. And then you provide copies to the assembly. So there's 3 things that you have to do if you want to be part. That doesn't mean you're not an ASN. It doesn't. You're still a national. You're a national by birth. You're just correcting your political status, and recording it and publishing it has absolutely not anything to do with serving on your government.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that said, because we know that there's a lot of indoctrination, there's a lot of infiltration, all these things that we're dealing with. How do you think that as American state nationals working together, how do you think we build trust amongst each others? Because without trust, you can't really have a working relationship, right? And so how do you ladies see us building trust amongst each other?
I yield to you first, Deborah.
Good question. So talking to one another for me is the way you're going to build trust. I would have been totally shocked at the things that have been said about me, even by people that are that I think would know things that I'm supposed to be involved in and be doing, and people that are saying things about me. No one has ever talked to me about it. I have no idea what they're speaking of, and it's pretty. It's a surprise to me that there's wagging tongues out there. So that makes me a little nervous about the people in my assembly, those who have never spoken to me, asked me a question one. And so, yes, it's going to take conversations and honesty and honor in order to build trust. Once trust is lost, it takes a lot of work to get it back. But just having those conversations, and it's one of the things that I found very useful at one of our assembly meetings, as things got kind of crazy in our assembly, someone shared the Myers-Briggs test that you take, your personality test. And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of fun. I've never done that. So I did it. And it made me feel so much better about who I am, seeing what my personality was like, and knowing that, hey, a coffee clutch is not something you're going to find me at, because that's not where I feel really comfortable. But if you need me to serve soup somewhere, or do a job, or keep busy doing something, I'm happy doing that. But to know that about myself is really nice. And so knowing that about other people in the assembly is nice too, because there are people that just love to talk and chat, and and I, more power to them, because I love watching them, and it makes me smile even to see the things that are being shared and stuff. So conversation, I have to say, conversation for connection is the way I would build trust.
Yeah, that's a good point. I appreciate that. And I'm a little disappointed to hear that, I see this a lot around. I think this is another thing that we have to work on to overcome, is that when we start hearing rumors about people and the gossiping begins, right? We have to do our own, inner work to ask ourselves the questions. I know Deborah. I've worked with Deborah. I've been on calls with Deborah. I don't see her doing that. And then I go to Deborah and say, hey, Deborah, I'm hearing this about you. Can you clear this up for me? And you ask the questions and you get clarification. And if you're being accused of something, then you come right out and you ask a question and see how you respond. And if you respond with an answer that sounds reasonable and honest and forthcoming, then there's where you're building that trust. The hard part is when people take what other people are saying at face value, and then they share it, and then they share it, and then before you know it, this whole big gossiping rumor about somebody has basically uh, you know just demoralized them and harmed them in a way that now people are like, oh, I don't want to get involved with her, like, I don't want to be associated with that. And there's just, it's toxic. That is so toxic. And we're called, by the way, to be better than that. We are, as sovereigns, we have a responsibility to do our own due diligence. We have to ask the questions. We have to get involved. We have to talk. If somebody was telling me something about you, Deborah, I would say, oh, that's interesting. Why would you say that about her? And I'd see what they'd have to say. Oh, because so-and-so, Niti told me this about her. And then I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, because I didn't have that experience with Deborah myself. This actually happened, by the way, with the peacekeeping task force. I had multiple people, start saying things to me about Joe and about the peacekeeping task force. And I had to correct the record and say, I've never had that experience with Joe. I've had nothing but integrity from him. And he's never been forceful. If I asked him for an opinion, he never told me you have to do it like this. He gave a suggestion. I'm like, and he's a really reasonable guy. I don't see any of that happening with the peacekeeping task force. And these are the things that I feel like, if Deborah, if on your assembly, people that know you and have been working with you, it's really a little disappointing to hear that they didn't come up to the plate for you and go to bat for you. Because that's the other thing that we're called to do, is we are to have each other's backs, and we are to know our fellow assembly members. I had another woman that I was working with that had some kind of falling out with their assembly. And I said, well, did you bring it to your assembly's attention, like the people in your assembly? She said, no. Well, why didn't you? Because your assembly is not just that coordinator. Your assembly is the entire body, the people on your assembly. So you could start going to them one-on-one and explaining to them what had happened and what remedy you're seeking, and so that everybody gets to hear your side of the story.
If you have a way to communicate with them, like I can say that on our assembly, we had plenty of people, I mean, I was attacked for 2 years. So like people would try to step up to defend me, and then they would get locked out. So that would happen all the time. So then everybody was just getting locked out.
You guys never like connected on a Telegram group or got each other's phone numbers?
No. I mean, first of all,
I think that has to happen.
Well, it was a secret. You're not allowed to do whatever. I mean, I'm just saying that was how it was. I agree with you. You think that I'm too shy to say, "Hey, Tammy, can I have your number?"
No.
I mean, I have more chances of getting people's numbers on the coordinator call, where Anna's sitting there, than I would have on our assembly. Okay. And that was the big joke. First of all, there's that.
Right.
But what we all have to comprehend, because I feel like this is going down this negative energy pathway, and I'd really like us to kind of raise that vibration and the frequency a lot more. I just want everyone to really get it, that the de facto operates on shame and blame. It's a game. Shame and blame.
Right.
Shame and blame. Shame and blame. If you are easily able to be shamed, or you will participate in blame, stop it. It's the only way it works. The only reason that they are able to do anything is because you shame and blame too. So you can just stop it.
Right.
And until you do, you're going nowhere. It's the reason why all the assemblies are captured. It is the reason why they aren't doing anything and getting anywhere. It's the reason why they're not going to stand, because they're shaming and blaming. Even the ones that supposedly are standing right now are shaming and blaming.
Well, I think the point of bringing up these different tactics, right, is to help our assembly members recognize these behaviors and course correct, right? And so when they're
harmonize.
Yes, and when they course correct, then they're harmonizing with one another, right? And when we start talking to men and women on our assembly and building those relationships and getting to know them, we start building that trust, and we start working more collaboratively with each other.
Meeting in the flesh fixes a lot of that. And I will tell you guys that anything you can do to create in the flesh meetings remedies a lot of things. One of the biggest things that we've always been doing here is having a monthly meeting in the flesh, and now the guys have decided that the coordinators have decided we're going to try to do that as much and as often as possible on all the different counties also, because it's really, really important, and we just recently all got together, and we got together on 3 different counties, and all of us couldn't get on every meeting or whatever. I mean, I know everybody couldn't be everywhere, but at every meeting, everyone was so excited, so happy, so loving, so high, and it was like, okay, we're tired and we want to leave, but we didn't want to leave because we were just so happy to be with each other, and it was great. It's just like when you're with your family, you're saying bye for like 5 hours, and you're just like, okay, bye. I mean, bye.
Right. An hour later, you're still saying bye.
You're still saying bye, and it was like that. It was really, really, really a lot of fun, and I feel like we just need to try to encourage as many of those as possible. Wherever you're at, get together as often as you can, even if it's a small group of you. And it is so much better to get together and then get on a Zoom call with the rest of your assembly if you can. People get together and they have these they remember they used to have those like 90210 watch parties, or I don't know, whatever people did, so do that for your assembly. Try to have a party if you can. I mean, I get it. It's difficult. It's weeknights. Everybody's got their work that they're doing.
Yeah.
If you can do it, try it.
we have an assembly meeting once a month, face to face, in the middle of the state. And we're fortunate that our state, it's about an hour and a half drive in other direction to come in the middle.
Yeah.
And, but it is funny because we start our meeting at 7 to give people plenty of time to get there from work. And then we usually end somewhere around 9, but we're there till about 10. And so that's like an hour and a half drive home. And we're kind of like doing this to get home, you know?
We do ours on Saturday at noon because that way they have the morning, and then they can also, you know, a lot of times a bunch of people will go and have dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks will plan to stay the night depending on whatever, because we don't want to leave. We just are having a good time, you know, everybody's hanging out. So, but yes, like,
Yeah, it's a different energy.
yeah.
You know, I love being able to see people face to face and give them a hug. And, you know, it's really the energy in the room is just so different. It's really different. And
Yeah.
it is a beautiful experience. I encourage it too.
Yeah. And the people can bring it forward. I mean, I see a lot of folks saying our coordinators won't do this, that, the other. Well, the coordinators are just directing traffic, you know?
Yeah.
There needs to be anybody just volunteer and say, okay, I'm going to be the hostess. And then you just say, does anybody want to help? You know, and then just try to do that. But I do know what it's like to be on an assembly when the General Assembly had no voice. And if that's the case, then, you know, the Federation needs to know that you just don't have a voice on the General Assembly. That's different.
Yeah. And if you want to have a face-to-face meeting, it really is up to the General Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the coordinator doesn't get to decide that. Neither does the chairman. It is the Assembly's decision.
Well, anybody can get together and meet each other because we're alive. Guess what?
Oh, yeah.
Also, we're free to just go and have a meeting with anybody who we want to. Did you know that?
Yes, I do that. And I do often.
I do it all the time. I mean, you know, you could go just see somebody and just hang out. And, you know, we just get together. There's nothing stopping you from having a regular coffee or a breakfast or a brunch or a dinner meeting. And, you know, maybe the guys just want to get together and go to the range and shoot, or, you know, I don't know, whatever you want. Everybody needs to just get together and have a good time and do anything that you want to do.
Right.
So,
I remember interviewing Idaho was a great state. They have a young coordinator, really amazing young man. And then they had a powerhouse couple duo, and Chad and why is his wife's name? Oh, Jamie. And really great couple. And they actually invite people over for status correction barbecues. And I thought that's great, you know. And I know California does their potlucks once a month where everybody brings a dish and they meet. You know, they've got that beautiful weather out there, so they can meet at a park. You know, there's all different ways that you can get together. And I know Ohio gets together on Tuesday mornings for like a coffee. It's Zoom. It's not face to face. But these are all opportunities for us to get to know one another and hang out with each other. And that's how you build, you know, trust amongst your assembly members.
Yeah. Conscious conversations, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Having that connection.
Love it.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a busy comment section. Juan says he was working on a status correction healing retreat. Oh, I love that idea, Juan. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Niti.
I was going to say I would come to that. Is Juan going to do that on the beach in Georgia?
Yeah, I might make that trip too, Juan.
Let's do it. We're going to do a healing retreat on Georgia Beach.
Yeah, love it. Sign me up.
Let's go, Juan. Let's do it. Let's do it. That would be so fun. Actually, I think we're supposed to go down there and play golf. Whatever. We'll walk around in the sun. but we don't.
I would be there.
Listen, y'all, Anna needs money for these. What
Yeah.
are these?
She's busy sending a lot of notices out.
When you send one of these notices out, y'all, this is a flat rate envelope. And currently, the flat rate envelope is $33.40. Now, the way notices work is you send one, which is instructing them. They have to be able to rebut it. You send a second one saying, hey, I didn't get any rebuttal. Hello. Hello. Just checking the mic, checking sound check. And then the third one is like, okay, here is the new law. This is judgment. Okay. So every single time that you see that Anna has an international public notice that you read on her articles, it's 3. It's this times 3 times however many people she needs to send it to. So it's about $1,000 or $5,000 or something, depending on the notices that she sends. Okay. You did not pay for her to get her house back. That was a
rumor.
Somebody's like, somebody paid for it. That's why she's getting it back. No, this is all about jurisdiction. It's not about money. All right.
Right. And
the reason that we don't, I'm sorry, I just want to say this. The reason we don't use priority mail is because Priority Mail Express is guaranteed, tracked, and insured. You need a chain of custody. Okay? You have to have a chain of custody. And why are we not hand delivering them? Because our post office is a court. This is a court of record. Okay? And so you need the full chain of custody through their court. And the court of record is a superior court, and it's superior to all courts. It's superior to all courts. So we don't need to go into their court and participate in their theatrical performance. We've exited stage left. We perform on the court of record. And this is how we do it. And if you do anything else, then you are following UCC, which means that you are lowering yourself into their, and why would you do that when this is you, when you are the king? Okay.
Which is a really great point that you make, because recently on our assembly, we had a few members that were emailing the de facto. And I said, absolutely not. You want everything going through the mail. And this is the reason why.
Right. Well, we are the living law. And technically, if a living man walks into anywhere and hands you the law, they've served you the law. And that should be all. But these people are ignorant to the truth. Okay? And so we have to have the court of record is always in writing, and it is superior. Right? And it's superior for many, many reasons. I mean, number one, we already know the game of telephone doesn't work. Right? So I can say anything I want to say, and then you guys will convolute it 15 different ways. Even when it's recorded on this podcast, instead of going back to listen to the podcast to know what I actually did say, you won't. You're going to make up something and say something nonsensical. And then someone's going to say, hey, Niti said blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, no, here's the recording. Bloop, and play it for you. Right? So the court of record through the postal court. And did you read Anna's article about the postmaster? Come on now. She just wrote a big,
right.
It's only 14 pages, I think.
Well, the other thing that I want people to know about, and I just recently learned this from Christy Leeper on Washington. One of the reasons why we don't use email is because that's considered a form of wire fraud. And if you look up 18 U.S. Code 1343, email is included.
Well, the de facto owns the internet. So why don't we just start right there and leave it right there?
Yeah.
We can just start and leave it right there. Read Anna's article about the postmaster.
Yeah.
And this is, like what a lot of the problems, you guys, the challenges that we're facing all the time is that people don't want to study Anna's work. Everybody is interested in, de facto case laws and statutes and remedy and equity courts. And everybody keeps going in circles because they don't want to pay attention to what Anna is teaching. She has taken all of that law and statutes and equity and whatever, and she has ironed it all out. And if you are not convinced of this, I encourage you to read your document from the 928 package. All your documents, frankly, you should read them. But the one document that she did, which is making you the banker, I mean,
that's
document,
a certificate, right?
the certificate of assumed name. This document is a piece of work. It is so powerful.
Yeah.
And in one document, she has corrected she has taken you all the way out of all of their jurisdictional nonsense. And then the act of expatriation.
Yeah.
She's like, we're not here for your theatrical performance as you dress your, if you go into their courts, you go from admiralty to maritime to air. They always want to get you into the air jurisdiction where they can just make up anything because airy fairy crap. But we have our feet on the ground.
Right.
And we can't make an appearance in the air.
No, we don't have wings. We don't have fins.
No, you walk into their court with your pound of dirt and you throw it on the floor and go, poof, I'm here.
Yeah, it's like taking the water and throwing it on the witch and watching her disintegrate.
Right. If you're going to walk into their court, which that's dumb, why would you do that? But if you're going to go into their airy-fairy jurisdictional court, you go in there and you throw your pound of dirt on the ground, you stand firmly on your square, and then you say, I am here by special appearance.
Right.
Hey,
and I'd like to see your bid bond.
Where is a copy of my death certificate? Oh, you have none? Then I'm alive. I can't even be in here. Like, you are outside of your jurisdiction. Everything is about jurisdiction. Yep. They have no authority to address you.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that the only reason why these people are still in power is because we, not you and me, we're not doing this, but the other people out there that are still U.S. citizens are giving them the authority. They're worshiping these people.
Also, there are people.
Save us. Trump's going to save us. He's the guy. He's going to save us. I just sit here and shake my head like, when are you gonna wake up? But there's that illusion. It's because you're giving them the authority. You're giving them the consent over you. And when you stop doing that and acting in your sovereign power with your unalienable rights under God, you are free. You're truly free.
But our assemblymen do it too. I told you, they're trying to lean me. Okay, these people.
They gotta wake up.
They have to look. They're still trying to argue.
That's funny. That's kind of comical. Maybe it's a joke.
I mean, I don't know that I don't think they get the joke. But like, here's the funny part to me is that they still believe, and I've had people say this to me. Well, Anna hasn't gotten us remedy yet, so we're gonna have to do the UCC stuff until we can get it.
Ugh.
Have you read your 928 package? You don't know what it means. That's the problem. So everybody on your assemblies, get locked in. Get locked in on your 928. Go page by page until you get it. And then I want you to translate that for the UCC so that you can know how much power you have with her language. And I
Right.
think this is a
And
good
by
place
the way, I want to point out to people that Anna didn't do this all on her own. She had a team of researchers. I mean, there was a team of people. In fact, I refer people all the time to her book, You Know Something Is Wrong When. She's got a big fat globe with little puzzle pieces that has everybody's name in there that contributed to her research, to her work, to the book, to what we know to be true. And it's been timed and tested and tried. And mistakes were made and corrections were made, and they got it to the point where it is now over a period of time. It wasn't that they just pulled it out of a hat somewhere. This has been a process that has been going on for years, and she was just brave enough. I really do hope someday to be able to meet her and give her the biggest hug. I'm sure a lot of us feel that way. I got teared up when Jamie was, telling her this on the coordinator training call. And because it really was, I think, what everybody was feeling for her, and just be able to give her this big hug and thank her, like really thank her for being brave. I mean, she's an introvert by nature, and she puts herself out there all the time, and she's got the patience of a saint, because the amount of time she spends to repeat herself, and when she repeats herself, she says it in a different way sometimes, and then explains it differently, but the same story. And I aspire to be as patient as she is, but it's just a beautiful thing that she has done for us, but along with everybody else that we don't get to see, like all the people that are working behind the scenes, that working alongside with her, that we don't get to see or meet. She is their speaker, right? She's the one that comes forward and brings the information forward, and we just love her so much for it and are grateful.
100%. And I mean, Anna went with a council of 900. She definitely didn't do it by herself.
Right.
She
right.
went with a council of 900. And then how many people's shoulders is she standing on?
Yep.
She tells you. She was trained. She was
Right.
prepared. She said that she was prepared for this. Anybody can do that. Anybody can be. We should be. I mean, we're preparing our sons and daughters, and you should be too.
Right.
We're making them uncomfortable. I mean, I have a 21-year-old who's very uncomfortable, and he's not about to be comfortable, because I mean, his daddy is not letting him be comfortable. We didn't bring him into this world to be comfortable. we brought him into this world to have a real experience, and he chose us. So, that is what's going on. That's what's going on. And we're here for the babies. I mean, everybody has a different reason, but we are here to save the babies. But I know Anna is like, all precious life.
Yes.
All precious life. If any of you states think that you're going to be able to have control of your state assembly anytime soon, and you are not for all the precious life, you're not going to do anything anytime soon.
Right.
You better find the love, and you better find it pretty quick, because she's saying, hurry up, y'all. Come on. I'm not going to be here forever. Hello. Find the love. It's so much easier.
And I like to repeat, I'm going to borrow this from Michelle Ford. She says this constantly, right? Guys, we've got to get laser focus. Put the blinders on, and we're just going to get laser focused. And she's so right. Like if we could stop being the dogs, being distracted by the squirrels, and just stay focused on the mission at hand, this could get done a lot faster. And I think, like what you were saying, Niti, is that a lot of people are being distracted by the UCC stuff and, trying to get remedy. I understand that. I understand that people are looking for remedy. It's got to be a systemic remedy. And this is the way that what Anna is doing, is getting systemic remedy. People are starting to lose their patience. We just have to keep keep the course, stay on course, keep persevering through, doing the work that needs to get done on our states, and just keep at it, because I see it growing. And I feel it. I feel the change coming, and I see us getting there. And we're breaking through now, and we're going into this new earth and envisioning the things that we want. Anna keeps telling us, what do you want? Well, I know what I want. I got a lot of things that I've been envisioning, with food and wellness and education and clean air and clean water and access to free energy and all these things that are going to just spring us forward and let us live this abundant life. And there's so many possibilities out there. That's what I keep my eye on, in my mind's eye. And I hope that everybody else out there that's listening is doing the same. That's how we're going to get there.
May I put forward a little bit of a challenge? There are many things being said on various channels about getting remedy, and everybody that's a free ASN standing on the soil, they know they have to do it themselves, right? We're not doing it for them in the assembly. But there's also the challenge is to know what Anna has taught us from her articles, because there's a man out that was just interviewed on The Way Forward, which is a really progressive podcast. And his name is Govinda Tidball. And I listened to it, and it's like, oh my gosh, the number of lies that are in it is just astounding. But you wouldn't know it if you don't know what Anna has actually taught us. So that's a challenge. If you listen to that podcast and you cannot pick out those lies, you need to go back and read some more of her stuff, because a lot of half-truths are in there, and he's leading people astray. And it's a deliberate. We've got people compromising the assemblies. Now they're trying to compromise the entire ball of wax for people that want to come in, because people that see this don't believe Anna, because they're believing these other things that are lies. So I yield.
Well, I think
it's not that he's lying.
Right.
It's that he's standing under UCC. Anna shared that. Okay. So
yeah,
let's just
she
start with,
shared it in her article.
Yeah.
But
So she shared that, and he's not lying. This is what I want to say.
He is lying on several different things, but you have to be really careful when you're listening.
Listen,
because he says you're compromised from the day you were born. Well, we know that's not true.
Right. But
anyway.
he only knows, it's not that he's lying. He doesn't know the whole truth. Okay.
Right.
He's only speaking from the limited education that he has, which is why he is only able to stand with UCC, which is why he isn't able to enforce what he wants to enforce in the full way. Okay. This is important for everyone to know, that he is 100% only operating under UCC, and he has not status corrected. And the reason he's being violated in the ways that he's being, because he's telling you he's being violated. Okay. And the way that he is being violated, and why he's continuing to have to be in this fight, and why he isn't getting, he thinks he's creating systemic remedy. He is creating systemic
awareness,
precedent and awareness, but he is undeclared, and he doesn't actually have knowledge of the full truth. But Anna shared what he's doing because everybody's awakening on a different level.
Right.
And we can appreciate what Govinda is doing, but he still is missing.
Yeah. He's missing that little missing link.
Right. And so are many. Like, what's going to happen right now? And this is important, Deborah, because what you're saying is valid and vital, because there are so many people on the assemblies that are being distracted and threatened by these patriot groups, which is stupid. Why are you being threatened by people who are operating lesser than you? Let them do whatever they're doing. They have to come on their own path and find their way here. And I mean, come on now, Deborah. you know the work that you had to do to that you're healing yourself and you're doing all this thing. And me and Tammy know what we all had to do to find our way here. And Lord knows that she was on the street corner with a megaphone and I was, standing on top of a mountain on a farm screaming at people too. And then I was yelling at people saying, "You're killing the babies. What are you doing?" I mean, Michelle Ford kind of did something like that also. I was working with Polly Tomey on Vax, the movie, and, like we were all doing all these different things. And here we are. But we
Right.
had to come here somehow. And so it would be nice to reach out to Govinda and say, "Hey, brother, you might find this to be a little bit more powerful than what you did." Not that he didn't do something
Powerful. Yeah.
powerful,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know all the jurisdictional nuances. And neither do even most of the people. Like, I still am getting people from our assembly going, "Did you know that there's an Asheville County, there's another whatever assembly on Asheville for the city of Asheville?" Okay, well, I don't care. I can't control all these million. I like what Michelle Ford says. I'm gonna lean on Michelle one more time and say, okay, I love it when she says, "Look, I can't worry about evil.
Yes.
We're armored. We are armored. We're just moving forward, and we're being armored and just gonna go. We gotta go with the numbers."
And the best way to defeat evil is to do what we're doing.
Right.
You know,
And we just become the light and the beacon. And so what Govinda's doing is all he knows how to do. And
Thank you for that grace. Thank you for the grace and for explaining it in the way that you explained. I think my reaction to him was, here I have a friend who will not even look at Anna's things because of podcasts like that.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
No,
So thank
because
you.
it's
That was
very
good.
powerful. Listen, because he's on a very renowned podcast. And you can't get Anna on those podcasts because, look, I was talking to this kid who he was pretty renowned, and I'm not even Anna at all. And he can't even hear what I'm saying because at some moment his eyes were rolling in the back of his head. He's not ready because if you were to put Anna in front of him, he would be literally not knowing what to do. She brings that whole different energy, and it's like we have to kind of step people out. And so I think it's wonderful that he's showing them. He gave them evidence of how the postal courts can be used. He doesn't know that's what it is. Okay. He's showing evidence of a criminality, a pattern. It's true. It's true. He doesn't know that it's bigger than that.
Well, the one thing that I caught that I think maybe Deborah is talking about is, I think it was the latter part of that interview where he was talking about the Republic. Now, what I did like is that when the guy that was interviewing him had asked him about, well, how did Trump respond, right? And that was the beautiful answer. He goes, well, he had the opportunity to respond and he hasn't. You got to wonder why. So that little tidbit, I feel like, is going to wake people up a bit to see that he can't really respond. He doesn't have the authority to, do what you're asking him to do. But, and I do think that a lot of these people, they mean well, and I don't say this with arrogance because a lot of people would say, well, how do you know that you're so right? And why do you think that your way is the right way? Right. And, I'm going to go do it this way because I like what they have to say. Okay. I have got people in my assembly that are like, we really need to try to unite some of these groups and these patriot groups. And I'll say, look, I know that I'm on the right path. I'd be more than happy to meet with people and to discuss our process, but there's no way that I'm going to be, changing my ways or, entering into your realm because I know I'm in the right place.
Because of the law. Like Juan said. And I literally said that to this lady this weekend because we were in a Marriott hotel lobby, and we're putting together all of our notices. Okay, so we're putting them all together. Well, we had actually Georgia was in the house, Juan. So Georgia, they were having a conference there at the hotel in the lobby area and the hotel rooms or whatever. They were having a conference of all the fish and game wardens. And it was an international meeting. They don't know it's international. We know it's international. The Georgia game warden guy came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm from Georgia. What is this?" And I was trying to talk to him, and his eyes started rolling in the back of his head. All they saw was presidential seal everywhere. They call it the presidential seal. I'm like, "No, that's the Great Seal." I said, have you ever heard of the silent majority? Have you ever heard of them? Have you ever heard of the silent majority?
Yeah, they think it's something altogether different.
What? What? One lady, she was so arrogant. She was just like, "Oh, you're with FEMA," because it was Anna's October 5th notice where she told FEMA, like, stand down, or you will be shot or hung on sight. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So she read that, and I was like, "No, we're not." I mean, she kind of offended me because first of all, she scared me to death. She like came up out of nowhere. I didn't know she was like right behind me, and she's reading this stuff from behind me, and I go, like, I'm just thinking to myself, "Who are you that you just are reading over my shoulder at just because I'm in the lobby?" And she goes, "Well, you're in a public space." She says to me, like as if to notify me that I'm in a public space where she can just come. I said, "Well, we're all guests of this hotel as far as I know. What are you talking about?" If if you're sitting in a chair reading a book and I just start reading over your shoulder going, "What book are you reading?" Wouldn't you think I'm a crazy nut job? I mean, so this lady, I was just looking at her like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, we're here." She didn't announce that she's here for a conference, mistaking that we might be setting up. She's trying to handle the conference. Okay.
Yeah.
So she thinks that we might be trying to set a table up and we aren't part of her conference or whatever. And she thinks we're trying to set up. I mean, I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what she thinks. Well, because we were there before.
The way she was reacting, that's what you were coming to the conclusion of. Yeah.
Right. Like, if we have rented the spaces and then somebody in the area looks like they're setting up a table, then you would be like, you're not on my list of people.
Right.
Like, why are you
there to, bomb it or something, right?
Right. I mean, yeah.
Meanwhile, not literally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we had been there working for 3 hours before these people came because, it was near the end of the day and they were getting set up for the week because they have a conference there for the week. So anyway, it was interesting.
It sounds like you were able to educate a little bit.
Well, we were trying. There was about 8 of us. We were trying to do some outreach because we want the game wardens and everybody, we want them to be our friends. And so we were trying to talk to them. And, but yeah, they were just like eyes rolling in the back of the head. Like, what are you talking about?
My husband and I had an interesting experience. We happened to be in Rhode Island a few weeks back. And we got to walk by a protest for the war in Ukraine. And the sign, said no more armory to Ukraine, U.S. stop sending, armory over there. And at first we walked by and then we got to the corner. I said to my husband, I said, we got to go back and do outreach. This is a perfect opportunity to go back and do outreach. So we went back and I just started going at it. And they were a little dumbfounded, quite honestly.
Yeah.
especially when you start talking about the constitutions, plural. And that was an interesting topic. But at the end of the day, we gave them, I only had business cards from my assembly, so I gave them business cards. But I did want to say that if there's anybody from the Rhode Island Assembly that's watching this podcast, reach out to me, because I'd love to give you their information. They gave me their flyer with their organization, and I do have intentions to reach out to them and email them. I've been so busy, but I'd love to connect with the Rhode Island Assembly and pass that information along as an opportunity to, connect them with that group anyway.
Yes. And both Deborah and Tammy's information is in the show notes for anybody who is interested in connecting with them. Feel free, to reach out. I don't know, ladies. This was good. I mean, thank you, Tammy, for the topic. I don't know if we actually covered your topic the way you wanted.
No, it was perfect.
But I think that we just have to continue, having these conversations. And we just need to have more and more conscious conversations, keep everybody, moving on the path. The big deal is staying on Anna's path. And It's not just Anna's. We know that. Okay. But it is what we're calling it for now. And I love it that we are able to bring all of our life experiences together. And we appreciate all of you guys watching and participating with us in the chat. And we love you guys so much. And we look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday. I'm hoping that Anna's going to join me on Thursday. I think she might be ready to do that. It takes a lot more energy for her to join like me or to join Michelle to be able to receive questions, versus her being able to just focus her energy and share. If she needs to continue to protect her fields, I'm happy to let her just keep relaxing. Whatever it is that she needs, we're going to be there for her. She's done plenty, and we have plenty to talk about and plenty to study. And so whatever happens, I'll be here. I'll see you guys on Thursday at 7:00.
Yeah. Well, we've been enjoying the podcast.
Oh, thank you. I hope that, have you been getting a kick out of what she's talking about? She told me to talk to you guys about the farm union cases. Can you even believe that?
I went back online after watching your podcast and did my own research and found that document that you were reading from. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And there's a load of information in that document that others that, don't know about this information can go and do their own research. They could go look up Willie Nelson's, the fundraiser that he did. They could go look up the, what's his name again? Roy Schwatzinger. Thank you. Yeah. They could go look up.
Specifically, you need to specifically look him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They murdered him, and you need to know what happened.
Yeah. It's the information that was in that document was really profound.
I don't know what you found, if you found one document, because I've found like many things. So I would love to know what you found, if you don't mind sharing it with me.
Yeah.
You did? Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. I was like, I don't know what you're meaning, because I had collected, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. And I told you, I don't even know what I was saying, because it wasn't me. It was like coming from, our infinite intelligence. It was, I don't even know. I had to listen to it later, and I was like, oh my gosh, but I know I had a whole bunch of different bits and bots that I had collected. And so I would love to see what you found.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually able to share that document with that information to one of our local farmers here. I asked them, are you familiar with the NESARA initiative? And they were clueless.
The original, the actual.
Right.
And it's not the NESARA that you hear Trump and everybody else talking about.
Right.
And when you actually pay attention to that episode and hear what Anna wanted you to know, it's not what we ever thought about before.
Yeah. And she also has documents and articles on her blog page that you can go look up and get more information. Because her mom, from my understanding,
Mm-hmm.
was friends with Roy Schwatzinger. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, she was one of the big leaders
Right.
of that whole movement. I mean, I don't know if you guys know all about the things that Anna's mom did. My gosh.
Well, we know the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And thank God for that.
Yes. All right. Well, Debra-Ann, do you have anything in closing before we go?
Oh, I just love to take a peek at that document too. It was fascinating information, and people really should listen to it. And I sent that podcast on to my farmer friends. So
Good.
very
Good.
interesting.
Well, we want everybody who has any of those old claims, help me get in touch with them. I need a list. Anna wants us to get those people together. So if you know those people, we want to make sure we get them connected with Anna. So I'm putting a list together.
How can they send it to you, Niti?
Email would be great. You know, all my information is in the
show notes.
Well, you have my information anyway. Just email.
Yes, I'm just saying so for the audience.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, everybody out there. It's all my stuff should be in the show notes.
Beautiful.
I'm not hiding from anybody. I don't think any of us are, right?
Nope. Out there for the whole world to see. Got nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide. Like Anna says, you can look up my skirt till you find Jesus.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to know we can do this. We can work past whatever it is we need to work past and do this together. I'm just quite excited about that.
Yeah. And I think having this kind of discussion gives people, gets to show people our hearts. You know, I felt nothing but genuinity from the both of you. Same thing when I get together with Louise and Michelle, and it's just it's beautiful, and it's beautiful to see. And I think the more we do these kinds of conversations, the more we're getting others and motivating others to do the same back home.
I hope so. That is the hope and the desire. And, you know, we're all here. We're all here for this oneness.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. Well, I'll see you Thursday, and then we'll be back here again next Tuesday. I don't know how many of you guys can join me, ladies, but I'm going to be here, and we'll be talking about something. We don't know. We'll see how this week goes. Every week, it just unfolds something new, and then we show up and we know what everybody needs. I think we just get the vibe of what people want, right? They're calling us forward. So,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Great
Thanks
week.
for coming.